BPod Studios.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Award-winning movies often have incredible soundtracks, and many of those have gone on to become country gold. We've picked our top 5 country songs that have been nominated for an Oscar. Text Oscar to 45911 to see if your favorite made the list on BackstageCountry.com. Text Oscar to 45911 and we'll send the link straight to your phone.
Headlines.
Bruins will host the Dallas Stars this afternoon at TD Garden. Boston just 1 win in 6 games on this homestand, which wraps up today. Judd Surratt and Bob Beers will have Duncan pregame at 12:30, face-off at 1 here on the Sports Hub and the New England Honda Dealers Bruins Radio Network. Before the game, Bruins captain Brad Marchand will be honored for his 1,000th NHL game, which happened last Thursday. The NBA All-Star game last night, East beat the West 211 to 186. Jaylen Brown had 36 points. Jason Tatum with 20. Each played around 22 minutes. Dame Lillard took the MVP with 39 points, including 23 three-point attempts. Down in Fort Myers, Red Sox owners John Henry, Tom Werner expected to meet with the team today. Team has not said whether they'll take any questions from reporters. The Dodgers say Shohei Ohtani is ahead of schedule on his rehab from elbow surgery, but he will not appear in their spring debut this coming week. And on the PGA Tour, Hideki Matsuyama, the winner at the Genesis Invitational, came from 6 shots down, shooting a final round 9 under par 62 to win by 3 strokes. Sports Hub headlines brought to you by Prestige Car Wash, home of the free vacuum. That's right, their vacuums are always free, so don't ride dirty. Check out PrestigeWash.com with 22 Greater Boston locations. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in 30 minutes.
Hold everything 98.5 The Sports Hub has to offer in the palm of your hand.
I need that.
Listen live. Get breaking news.
I need it.
Download the Sports Hub app. Zolak and Bertrand get you through the workday at 10. Right now, it's Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Blues, 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 and blues, blues, and more blues. This hour of Toucher and Hardy is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Dan Soder was a friend of the show. He is a very famous comedian. I guess he was on Billions. I never saw Billions. But he joined us. And is he still a friend of the show? We explore that. It's a little bit of controversy. Dan Soder, hello, sir.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're well. We had you on before, and at the time you were a big 49ers fan, but I'm wondering, are you still a big 49ers fan?
Yeah, I'm just a hurt, upset 49ers fan.
Okay, what did you make of that whole situation? Because you know Shanahan, right?
Well, first off, we need to clear up some beef that I have with the show. Because the last time I was... Yeah, you guys broke my trust. In fact, it took a lot for me to come back here on this show because I was kind of legitimately mad at you guys for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I had a great time in studio last time I was there, and then I hung out for a little bit after off air. And I told you guys an inside joke I had with Mike McDaniel, who was then the run game coordinator, now the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. But I was telling you guys an inside joke I had with my longtime friend. Yeah. And I kind of told you guys, hey, keep it in the room. And the joke was that McDaniel and I called Jimmy G Dirk Diggler because of how Jimmy was so kind of like flippant and a hot guy. And I was telling you guys that, you know, me, McDaniel, and Shanahan would kind of joke around and call Jimmy G Dirk Diggler and call him Jack Horner. And then one of you guys at Super Bowl Media Day said the joke to Kyle, and he shot it down. And that, I wanted to drive up to Boston and fight your entire staff, FYI.
Okay, what Super Bowl?
So whoever the snitch was, whoever you are, you're lucky I don't get my hands on you.
All right, well,
because you almost blew an inside joke I had with the head coach of my favorite football team.
It wasn't me at Media Day, but I've said it. I believe I've probably said it on the air. I don't recall.
Well, you keep your yappers shut when people tell you stuff off air.
Yeah. Well,
is what you need to do.
It doesn't. Was anyone upset about it? Did McDaniel get it? Was he dude?
I was upset about it.
No, I know.
That was an inside joke I had with they denied it. And then they were like, dude, what are you doing? Are you telling people that? Are you telling sports radio people that?
All right. So but that seems pretty benign to me. I don't recall you saying, like, keep it in the room. Because I get confused.
100%. 100% I said off air, I said, guys, this is between us. But I have a joke with McDaniel and Shanahan that we jokingly call Jimmy G Dirk Diggler. And you guys were like, yeah. And I go, keep that between us. And then at Super Bowl Media Day,
it wasn't one of us.
The
guy. Okay, I'm not doing it. The guy who did it at Super Bowl Media Day wasn't one of us. He's the guy that used to be on the show.
He's from your show, though, right?
No, he used to be on the show. He's not anymore. This is a new show.
Oh, nice. Blame the guy.
No, I'm not. I'm not, because I've told that story on the air.
Classic move. The guy that leaves.
No, I'm telling you, I've told the story.
It's crazy. Oh no, it's crazy. You just missed the guy. He just left. the guy that did the thing just walked out the door. You rat.
Dan,
ratted me out.
What Super Bowl? It was his 49ers Super Bowl, and the Patriots. So it wasn't me.
Why would the 49ers? What media day? What media day would the 49ers be at?
No, I'm doing. I only went to the Super Bowl if the Patriots were in it, so I wasn't there. So it was definitely my old partner.
It was the last time the 49ers lost to the Chiefs, which wouldn't be the only time.
Right. It was now been twice. Time. Well, Dan, honestly, I'm a fan of yours, and I appreciate that you've done radio and that you hung out, and I thought you were a really good guy. And if I told that, I wasn't the one at the media day, but I have told that story on the air. And if it was meant, and if it caused you any pain,
if you can find the clip when whoever conveniently the guy that just left.
It used to be Toucher and Rich. Clip, now it's Toucher and Hardy. Rich is not on the show anymore. Yeah.
It was in Miami.
What I'm saying is
okay. It wasn't me.
It was in Miami. And when you watch whoever it was tell Kyle Shanahan that, he goes, "No, that's not true. What are you talking about?" And dude, I was like, "Are these guys serious? Are these guys seriously bringing up a joke I said off air to them?"
Would you be
a total joke of like?
Are you as upset if I said it on the air as it was being brought up right to him?
Listen, I'm mostly busting balls right now.
No, but you said you were legitimately mad.
The thing that, at the moment, I was legitimately mad. At the moment, I was like, dude, I told you guys that off air. That was like an inside, like, hey, we just had a fun day of radio. And I'm like, by the way, me and McDaniel, this is just between us. Me and McDaniel call Jimmy G Dirk Diggler.
Right.
It was like one of those things where it's like, hey, inside baseball, so-and-so's got herpes or something. And then you walk up to him and you go, I heard you got herpes. And you're like, dude, what are you guys doing?
Everyone's got herpes, though. That's kind of the thing. The Dirk Diggler thing's not.
Find another example.
Yeah, I know. No.
You can control that. They have to be open swords. There has to be open swords.
Oh, everybody, it's just a cold sore. No. You betrayed the trust.
So, Dan, just so you know, this is Hardy. I'm new on the show, and I've been at the station.
Listen, stepdad, you're not going to be able to smooth this over, stepdad.
I'm not trying to smooth it over. I just don't want you to be mad at me.
So, did you switch your allegiances now? Because you and McDaniels are like best friends, right? Like legitimately.
Yeah, it's McDaniel. I'm not friends with McDaniels.
McDaniels
is your guys' former offensive coordinator who was a garbage coach for the Raiders.
Yes.
I'm friends with Mike McDaniel.
And Denver. Okay, so you're friends with Mike McDaniel. And so but he's legitimately your best friend. He's
my oldest friend.
Right.
Yeah, we've been friends since 7th grade. Since we were 12.
Have you moved your allegiances then? Do you move it to the Dolphins now that he is the coach?
No, you just pick up I'm still a diehard 49er fan, but I cheer for the Dolphins now.
Okay.
Which is tough when you're marrying into a family from Boston that's a diehard Patriots fan.
Right. Yeah, and your wife has been on the show. I'm sure she remembers it and remembers it very fondly.
She loves you guys. Yeah,
really?
She's the best.
She does? Yeah. And you were married to whom?
Katie Nolan. I'm being married to Katie Nolan. We're engaged.
You're not married yet. You're engaged. And the very talented Katie Nolan worked at the White Horse Tavern. Katie Nolan, that's what I said.
She was really good on Jeopardy. I saw her episode recently. She did very well.
Dude, you want to talk about... Honestly, it's up to... I don't know what hurt worse was the Niners losing or her almost winning Jeopardy. I was close to almost 2 massive championships in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that all goes to charity. You know,
Still, I don't care, man. If you're a Jeopardy fan, you want to win. You want that win. She won 2 episodes, so I count her as a 2-time Jeopardy champion.
She was great. Yeah, I was very impressed.
That's got to be an incredibly nerve-wracking experience for both of you. Was she very, very nervous? There's a whole, you got to hit the button right and everything else?
Yeah, she worked on, she studied. She had the buzzer timing down, if you watch. She started getting it. She was in the zone.
Okay. So, and she did very well. And so there you go. When are you being married? When are the two of you being married?
We don't know. We're both lazy, so that's hard to plan a wedding when we're both lazy.
All right.
But it'll happen.
Okay,
probably 2025.
When McDaniel signaler, not McDaniels.
Yeah.
When McDaniel,
don't you bring up that guy that tanks organizations.
No, you're friends with the winner.
And we told you that in confidence that Josh McDaniels was a crap coach. So don't go airing it out.
Don't try to do that.
Yeah.
Don't try to do that. I got math on my side. You're still reeling. You're still reeling. You're still in trouble.
You're hurting our relationship with Belichick.
For what? What is he going to do? Go get you dunks now? He doesn't do anything.
He spoke very highly of Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of hopeful that the Niners signed Belichick as their D coordinator.
That was a low move, by the way, by Shanahan. Do you blame the defensive coordinator for that? That's like kind of a scummy move, right?
I really, honestly, if we're being honest,
I'm being honest.
I mean, I'm very mad at Shanahan right now because he's taken zero accountability in the fact that he lost that game by calling horse crap plays, and then to turn around and fire Steve Wilkes, a guy who did an unbelievable job of stepping in for DeMeco Ryans and keeping our defense as an elite defense. I was very angry that they fired Steve Wilkes and put it on him when it was not. He held Patrick Mahomes to 19 points.
Right.
It's like, dude, Shanahan, that's on you. And by the way, one of those touchdowns was because of a dropped punt. To fire Steve Wilkes the day, it really bugged me. It really made me angry. And I'm pissed at Kyle.
Yeah.
Because I think as a head coach, you have to kind of be like, hey, that was my fault. It's take some accountability. He didn't call any runs. I mean, dude, I went to the game. I was at the Super Bowl. He didn't call any run plays in the third quarter. He was called 6 straight passing plays. It was ridiculous.
And I would argue what got you to the Super Bowl in the first place was the defense against my team, the Lions, and how you were able to stop them on those fourth downs, which, whether it was the right move or not, it was the San Francisco defense in the NFC Championship.
It was 100% the halftime adjustments that the defense made that shut you guys down, and then Ayuk, without Ayuk's miracle catch off the face mask, the 49ers aren't back in that game. The offense sure didn't bring us back in. It was the defense.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting angry.
You're still pissed about the Super Bowl. What did McDaniel have anything to say about that? Did he say that you can't say on the air?
I called him. He didn't pick up. I was like, dude, I want to vent for him because it's his former boss, and so you're kind of hoping to be like, hey, can we vent a little bit? But he didn't pick up.
I don't believe you. He did pick up, but you're afraid because we violated the trust with you.
I'm not. You think I'm going to open this segment with the smoke, and I'm going to be afraid to tell you what happened?
All right. So he'll actively avoid your calls because he knows what you're trying to do.
He knows I'm fired up. He knows I'm very fired up,
and he just doesn't want to deal with it. But I'll give him credit because he's like a normal guy, like a funny guy. You can tell he's smart and he's funny, like for a coach, right? Like, and I'm sure he's really funny in real life, or you wouldn't be friends with him.
That's like absolutely. That's not like, I always see people being like, oh, this guy's like putting on and trying. You're like, no, dude, that little weirdo has been like that since 7th grade.
I don't get that impression at all. I don't get the impression that he's pretending at all.
You know what it is, though? It's idiotic Bills and Jets fans who are like, I don't like that guy.
What do they want, Salah?
Well, that's who he is.
Yeah, good. They can have Salah. He's the best. All right, so, but did he ever tell you, like, it's got to be, because he reminds me of, it sounds weird, but like one of my friends, like trying to coach a football team.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, like standing in front of like a group of elite, huge 20-year-olds and like trying to command that room. That's impressive.
He's been in the NFL. He's been in the NFL since he was, he's been a coach since he was 22. So he had to learn how to be a guy like. He's 22 years old, and he's on the coaching staff of the Houston Texans, coaching Andre Johnson, who just got into the Hall of Fame. So it's like he had to learn how to be younger and smaller than all these guys and somehow get their trust. I'll tell you, he does, because players love Mike McDaniel. Like, whenever he goes, I remember when he went to Washington, that's when he got married, and his bachelor party was completely paid for by Pierre Garçon, because Pierre just loved the guy, because McDaniel got him to 2 2 Pro Bowls, and he was like, this is one of my favorite coaches. I think there's like a lot of guys who will say that McDaniel was their favorite coach when he was, whether it be like a position coach or a coordinator, they love him.
And Tua, you can tell he's got that relationship with Tua, and then even when they're
Tua went from being real bad to just bad when it counts.
To being limited. He went from being really bad to physically limited.
But I'm going to say this about McDaniel. He, and something I'm angry at Shanahan for right now, McDaniel takes accountability. You see when they lose, McDaniel's like, I called some bad plays. I maybe didn't do the right thing. And I've been waiting for Shanahan to do that all week, and he hasn't. And it just bums you out because you're like, dude, come on. Just say it was your fault so we can all get through this.
Yeah. So you're legitimately pissed. Have you gotten over it? Because Hardy, like you said, is a big Lions fan, and he was a complete dick the next day.
I was a complete dick to everybody. Dan, I'm telling you, I haven't cared that much about the outcome of any game by any team, maybe ever in my life. And I was kind of surprised at myself once I finally got over it, how much it affected me. I mean, I was...
Well, Hardy, I'm going to tell you this. As someone that was on the other side of it, you guys were such a fun team. You guys had so much momentum. But at the same time, as a 49ers fan, that comeback was unbelievable for us. You guys the Lions reminded me of a kid at Christmas who wants a bike, and they're like, all I want is a bike. You don't have to give me any other Christmas presents, just a bike. And then you guys got your playoff win, and then you went, all right, but I also want some video games, and I also want a new sled. And it was like, hey, you guys got your playoff win. You got 2 playoff wins. And then it was like, when it came to us, we're like, we need to win a Super Bowl, and then we crapped the bed.
It's absolutely fair, because I've said ever since Dan Campbell got there, I said, you win that team 1 playoff game, they'll build a statue of you in that city, because it hasn't happened since 91.
By the way, when I landed in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl last Saturday, I saw Dan Campbell and his wife looking for which tram to take to the baggage claim, and I had my 49er hat on, and I'm like, you just don't talk to that guy right now, Also, if I'm being dead honest, now you guys can share this story. You don't have to stab me in the back to tell this story. But him and his wife were kind of fighting, and I thought it was really endearing to watch a guy griping with his wife at the airport. I was like, dude, I like Dan Campbell now more, because he was like, I don't know where the train is. I was like, yeah, Dan, I get it.
He's miserable too. Yeah, he's miserable. When the season ends,
it was a very public, it was a very couples fight at the airport. Sure. Where one person's like, I don't know, and he was like on his phone. I was like, dude, I love this guy.
It was like my buddy who saw Janet Jones yelling at Wayne Gretzky at the Masters because he slipped a little bit when he was standing up off the side of a hill. She's like, what's the matter with you? Can't you even walk? He's like, sorry, I just slipped a little bit. And it's like, you're busting Wayne Gretzky's balls.
The greatest player of all time.
Right.
And you're going to bust his balls.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm still like, I would say I'm probably like 85% over it. But I'll tell you, and Hardy, you said, you were surprised how much it hurt you. I was at the Super Bowl in 2019 because of McDaniel and Katie. Katie got me tickets in 2019. But this time I got tickets through my buddy Mike. And it was, when I tell you the worst loss I've ever witnessed as a sports fan, it hurt the most because there were so many opportunities to win it, and there were moments where I thought we were going to win it, and then it was like watching someone crap their pants at the altar. You were like, what are we doing? Why are we taking the ball first? Why are we doing all this stuff?
So you knew right away. You thought right away this is a mistake. This is not hindsight with you.
I'm telling you right now, the second that we went for a field goal in overtime, I was like, we're going to lose this game.
Right.
Because you cannot kick field goals against Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. He's just too good.
I didn't grow up a huge Red Wings fan, so I was just like, all right, I'll be a Bruin.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't really care about the Avalanche when I lived in Colorado, and then I moved around a bunch, and I was like, you know what, dude? Let's go Bees.
Yeah, they're cool. I mean, the hockey players are the coolest. I mean, you have better access to football players, but it's as a rule, hockey players are pretty cool. They've been through it, They've had to take buses.
They're easily the most badass athletes.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah, they're not effing around. And the guys that fight are always hate it. And so I always like that too. Like the big badasses are always like, dude, I hate it. And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
All right, well, then you're not as psycho as I
they
thought
get
you were.
nervous about it, and they're like,
well, Bobby Robbins used to have to,
love that.
meditate and stuff before the games to get himself in.
I love that kung fu mentality where they're like, don't push me to use my weapons.
Well, yeah, you can hear them mic'd up. They're like, would you like to fight now?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Please. They say please sometimes. Like, please fight.
They go, come on, guy. Come on, bud. Let's just skate our opposite ways, huh? How about a hearty handshake and we go our other ways, guy?
No, I think I got to fight you here. That was Scottish for some reason. All right, Dan Soder.
Yeah,
That wasn't good. I apologize for Rich Shirtleaf's behavior. He's a dick. He completely screwed you.
I love. You know what? I honestly respect you scapegoating the guy that left. As someone that left a radio show in the last year,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to get scapegoated, and I would take it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the tax of leaving.
Yeah, Bobby Kelly was like, "Why are you having Soder on, dude?" He's like, "I took his."
Yeah, exactly. Bobby's like, he told your story to a bunch of people, and I'm like, I didn't though. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys, and thanks for letting me get that off my chest. I feel like finally I can get rest now.
Hopefully we've moved past this obstacle.
How much was Jimmy G Dirk Diggler? I mean, we nailed it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like I didn't nail it.
Yeah, he sucks. So, I mean, really, you didn't burn any bridges.
The funniest part is calling Josh McDaniels Jack Horner. I mean, that's what really...
The Clown Prince.
Yeah,
I called
porno.
Again, we're calling Kyle Shanahan Jack Horner. Josh McDaniels was more like the Colonel, and then it's like when Jimmy G went to the Raiders, it was like when he was all coked up doing the music. That was Jimmy G. He's going, now you see that playbook, the magic that's on that playbook, that's mine. Okay, you can't go.
You know what's funny is I thought you said Mike Horner, the actual porn star.
Oh no,
the Clown Prince.
Dude, shout out to the old school kings.
I mean, that was before Viagra. There was only like 5 guys that could do it. You had your TT boy, your Mike Horner.
And he was a porn star that just looked like he worked at an insurance office.
Exactly.
You're just like, hey.
And he looked legitimately happy to be there, no matter what the scene was. Mike Horner was there, and he was happy to be there.
Like,
if
you guys know they have snacks on set. This is nuts.
If someone's going to be the Colonel, can Belichick be Floyd? Because I think Floyd, he was like the real man behind the man behind the man. That'd be
yeah, he was. He was the financier. He definitely was.
All right, good.
All right, man, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on, and everyone go see him at the Wilbur. Dan Soder. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, appreciate it. There you go.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Country music has so many generous artists who always seem to jump in to help those in need. We're spotlighting 5 who lead by example and lend a helping hand to charitable causes. See who made our list when you text GIVE to 45911. Text GIVE to 45911 and read all about it right now on BackstageCountry.com.
Twitch feed of this is going to be used all around the internet.
Get up.
The cat is finally out of the bag.
Get up.
We're back. Toucher and Hardy.
Get up.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. And Ryan Johnson is in for Hardy today, despite what you just heard. And the Red Sox have made a signing, John. More like a dining.
Sort of.
Dining on Poe.
Apparently, they are close to an agreement with free agent reliever Liam Hendricks. Liam Hendricks was an all-star reliever for both the White Sox and the Oakland Athletics. Actually got Cy Young Award votes in 2022. Since then, he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He received treatment in early 2023 and declared himself cancer-free. And then 2 months after that, underwent Tommy John surgery. He probably can't pitch until August of this year. But they have signed him, and he's going to be apparently a very valuable addition to their staff.
A 35-year-old closer with Tommy John surgery who's not good until the trade deadline.
After the trade deadline.
Well, John Tomasi says that he's out at spring training, and he says that some of the front office people are embarrassed
They should be.
About this offseason.
They should be. I mean, it's obviously the full throttle thing that Tom Werner said, and then he was forced to kind of take that back and then told everyone, well, full throttle is how he leads his life. And I'm thinking, yeah, if I had your money, I'd probably be able to live my life full throttle too.
Who? Wait, what? Tom Werner lives his life full throttle?
That's
pedal to the metal?
According to the man himself.
He's like Dad Boner?
Yep.
He goes hot dogging and crushes white sharks out of the cooler.
He's just waiting for the weekend, you guys.
He's
driving around
liquor.
like Fast and Furious.
Yeah, he's got like truck liquor. He's the bossy lady. He's taking naps in the toilet. Mm-hmm. He was talking about that's how I live my life.
Full throttle. That was his excuse.
So what is he?
That's what he actually meant.
Well, I mean, that's the worst excuse. I mean, you're better off just saying the team and whoops, I made a mistake. Than going, I'd live my life full throttle.
You're
what do you
better off directly insulting people, saying we're doing our best to cheat you out of your money.
Then you
that
are
would
to say
almost
I
be
live.
A better statement than that.
Yeah, like what do you have? Calvin peeing on the GM logo on the back of your pickup truck? You live your life full throttle.
It's got truck nuts back there too,
right on the mud flaps.
Big brass nuts as his trailer hitch. I understand what you're saying.
I had a hot dog, a hamburger. Somebody bought me a beer.
And you drank it? That's stupid.
Yep.
That's going to have poison in it.
We have the former executive
You're linked
producer.
to Cosby. People don't like you.
Former executive producer of That 70s Show telling us how the roster's going to shake out.
Yeah. All right. So Tomasi said that you think the front office is embarrassed because here's the deal is that I had always contended that this was the year that they had to go into free agency seriously because I thought this was the year that these prospects were going to finally come up. But apparently, the pitching that they have now in their minor league system is worse than when Heimblum took over. So as good as their farm system may be, it's completely offensive. There's no pitching.
All the young guys that were supposedly in the system, like Houck and Bayo, they're all now up with the major league team.
Right. So this was going to be the time where you were supposed to pick and choose free agents because you had controllable contracts. And you had guys making reasonable amounts of money, and this was the time that you were going to add a little salary and make a little push.
And you know what? They didn't do it. They're about $25 million under that luxury tax line and refused to spend any more money.
Well, you could agree Baltimore will probably win this division by 10 games.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So,
yes.
I mean.
And the Red Sox will probably finish in last place by 10 or more games.
At this point, why don't they just trade everyone and try to improve the pitching in their minor league system? They've already wasted 4 years
because they're all about cost control. They want to remain somewhat relevant.
Well, no,
they don't want to completely tank.
It's not about being in cost control because that would not go against what I said. Being relevant, though, you're not going to be being somewhat relevant is the worst thing you can do as a franchise. So why don't you try to ship out any veteran you can? They got rid of Jansen. So why don't you just try to ship out as many veterans as you can? I mean, not Devers, but you know what I'm saying, like older guys, and just try to acquire some type of young pitching.
They tried to do that. They traded John Schreiber over the weekend. They have control over John Schreiber for 3 years, but they thought he was so deep in their bullpen. And apparently the prospect they got back from Kansas City, and isn't it interesting that in acting like Kansas City, they actually made a trade with Kansas City. They got a guy who's a high A guy who apparently is a legit starting prospect that could be here in 2 or 3 years.
All right, well, that's what they should be doing.
Yeah, Jansen.
Because if they're not going to win now,
I mean, at this point, why not trade Kenley Jansen?
Because Baltimore that team is insane, and the thing is who's this kid from Milwaukee they traded for, the pitcher.
Corbin Burns.
If they re-sign Corbin Burns, I mean, that team's going to be very good for a very long time.
Yeah, they're already the best team in the division, and if Burns stays healthy, he's a bona fide ace, which is something they didn't have last season. So
I always contended that this was going to be the year that you would add free agents because finally these kids are coming up that you've cherished. But at
least ownership is owning this.
But the problem with the mid-market team is that if you keep all these prospects, they just don't all pan out. I gave you the examples in my life, like Dylan Carlson. Like he was supposed to be the second coming, and now they can't get rid of him. Like like, Todd Zeal. Like, there's these guys that they're supposed to be stars, and they might be, guys that play in the league for 8 years, but they're not. They're not. These guys aren't all going to be stars. Go ahead.
And that's the thing. Apparently, according to the know-it-all baseball writers, Jeff Passons of the world and Ken Rosenthal's of the world, they were asked about those top prospects like Teal, the catcher, Meyer, the second baseman. They were at shortstop. They were asked about Roman Anthony, the outfielder. They were asked about these prospects, and they refused to trade any of them. They wanted to keep everyone and then promote them through the minors, get them to the major league roster, and then sign them up long term. And the problem with that is exactly what you just said. You're not going to have a 100% hit rate.
No.
Out of all of these guys, you're hoping for 2 out of every 5 to hit big, and then you build around them.
2 out of every 5 is that would be great.
You're hoping for.
Yeah, I mean that'd be ideal. Yeah.
The other part of the problem is, Fred, they just punted the last 4 years. And if you're going to wait for these guys to arrive, when they get here, unless they're Mike Trout, it's going to be a couple of years before they figure it out. So you're looking at least another 3 or 4 before you get good again if they continue this way of doing things.
Well, Meyer, by the way, has not been good in the minor leagues.
He struggled. He had a shoulder problem last year. He hit under 200 at Double-A.
Yeah, and so he hit under 200.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not good.
And
you have built, by the way, they've built everything around this kid. Like, everything has been just wait until he comes up, just wait until he comes up. And then he hits under 200 in the minors. That's not what stars do generally. And I want like a guy who's like super into baseball. Look no further. But I want a guy that can tell me like the history of guys that have a year like Meyer had in that where they hit under 200 and then turn out to be young stars.
Yeah. And
doesn't that seem counterproductive? And
does.
He's not like this otherworldly power hitter either. He's a shortstop.
No, he's an incredible athlete. The shortstop.
Yes. So he should be able to hit.
He should be able to.
So
hit.
he should be able to hit for average. He's not like some guy who's just got to put it together. That's like natural power is like insane.
Right. They have this guy. They have Teal and they have Roman Anthony, the outfielder. All 3 of them are in Double-A. Anthony is apparently the guy now. He's 19, 20 years old.
That doesn't bode well. But now he's the guy.
Part of the problem is once you get promoted to Double-A, the clock starts.
Yes.
I mean, once you get there, you're expected to be in the major leagues in 18 months or less.
Well, you know this. Like, quite often, like, the real studs never even play in AAA.
Yep.
They get called up from Double-A.
Benintendi was one of those guys.
Well, Pujols, I don't think ever played in AAA. Like, the guys that are like real studs.
I think Mookie had a cup of coffee at AAA.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
like
I'm backing up your point.
Right. No, I know what you're saying. But even if say you played a couple weeks in AAA, before they called you up, but it's not like they were playing like a couple seasons in AAA or even a whole season in AAA.
Right. But the clock is on all of these kids. Once you're promoted to Double-A, I mean, Double-A is the feeder system where you weed out guys that can't do it. You bring a guy up to Portland, you expect him in the major leagues in a year or a year and a half. And if he is not here in a year or a year and a half, he's considered a bust. So now this ownership has kind of painted themselves into a corner. You're not trading these prospects. You've basically signaled to everyone, we're building our future around these guys, and forget about the last 4 years where we weren't trying to win. Now we're not trying to win for the next 2 or 3.
It's just a psychological theory, but I wonder if Henry feels like the amount of he didn't get enough love for when they won.
So he's going to ruin the team?
Or just like, what's the point of putting all this money into it? Because he did make the comment, which I thought was interesting, and I generally don't think anything they say is interesting, when he said, baseball players are expensive. And that just sounds like, I wonder if he's like, guys, I brought you, because all anyone ever does is bitch about the Red Sox. Now you kind of have a reason to, but like, I wonder if he was like, I brought you a championship when no one thought we could win, and then we won multiple championships. I spent all this money. Like, there's been generations of teams that were very good. Like, it wasn't just like one great run. Like, we had generations of teams. We had different managers that won, and you guys have still just consistently bitched, and I just don't want to put in I don't want to invest my resources anymore.
All Red Sox fans want is ownership to care. If you make decisions and they're wrong, that's one thing.
I don't know.
But if you
bitch.
leave the franchise in the corner collecting dust, which is what they've done.
I know that's what they're doing now. I'm just trying to think of a reason for it. But believe me, it's not money. I mean, the guy's got, the money's not a factor to him. So I wonder if, just a psychological thing that I think, is that just because it's just something around here that people dully bitch about the team even when they're winning, if he was just like, screw it, I'm going to invest my money in other places because no matter what I do, no one seems to be happy. And it's kind of like punishing the organization.
See, I think it's gotten so much louder because he is investing his money in other places.
Exactly.
It's if you're going out of your way to avoid paying the luxury tax here, but then you're buying a soccer team and you're buying a racing team and you're buying
$1 billion investment
team
in the
and all
PGA
that.
Tour.
Okay, but what year did he walk into the studio drive into the studio and come on the air with Faulkner?
09, 2010?
It was like
2010.
Yeah.
What have they done since 2010?
They've won two World Series.
Right, so he was hearing everyone bitching about the team in 2010. So, again, my point stands. You might not remember, but people just are consistently complaining about him and complaining about the team. And even in 2010, which was only 6 years after they did the impossible, in another theory that I've heard that Mad Dog said, say, and I agree with, is that this fan base never wanted to win a World Series.
I can only speak for myself. I disagree with that.
Nope. There was a part of it that was more fun.
You lost your identity
Before, and the Cubs are the same way.
Yep.
Because no one cares about the Cubs anymore. It's the Cubs and the Red Sox. It was more fun when you weren't winning.
Not for me.
No,
not for me.
I don't care about you, John. You're one person.
Well, I'm the Red Sox fan in the room, so you're talking to me.
I'm not, but you're not the only Red Sox fan in the world.
I know that.
Dummy.
I can't speak for everybody.
Narcissist.
I can't speak for everybody.
Well, then stop speaking for everyone.
Okay.
Because that's exactly what you're doing right now.
Okay.
Because you're speaking for everyone. You're like, I wanted them to win. I'm saying the fan base as the whole, not Captain Baseball Encyclopedia over here.
Okay.
What is the most celebrated World Series? And it is, what's the most celebrated World Series in Red Sox history? And it's more celebrated than the one off the top of your head if you really think about
75.
it. Thank you. And they lost that series.
Very
and
true.
that is the one that is the most celebrated. To this day, it's a effing 45 minutes of the baseball documentary that Ken Burns put together.
Mm-hmm. Ken Burns, Red Sox fan.
And the 75 World Series, everyone loves it. And it's all Red Sox fans talking about the 75 Red Sox.
That's true. Bernie Carbo, the whole thing.
Now, I don't know if I'm right. I certainly know I'm right about the Cubs. They never wanted to win that World Series. But because now the Billy Goat thing, they can't have fun with that anymore.
Bartman can't
complain about Bartman. Exactly.
Yeah,
they won that, and then it all went out the window. I told you that was going to happen. But I wonder if the Red Sox fans are just like, they were happier when they never won. I wonder if that's what John Henry thinks. Because if I owned the Red Sox and I had to come into the station in 2010 to start, answering a bunch of questions, and then people just continue to complain even when we were winning World Series, I'd be like, F you, too. I might really be like, F you. I'm going to go try it at other places to see if they care.
We'll see if that's how he feels. He's down at spring training today, meeting with the team. Maybe he'll meet with the media for the first time in 3 years.
Ask the people in Pittsburgh how they feel about him, too.
Yeah, well, ask the people in Liverpool how they feel about him.
Yeah.
He was the genius that tried that.
It's really working. He can keep going. I'm sure the people in Las Vegas will love him when he owns the NBA team.
I also have a feeling he doesn't relate to people that well. I just have this strange feeling that maybe he's not the most engaging, charismatic guy when you meet him.
Not.
Please go to the picnic table today, please.
Oh, that would be great.
He has to talk to him.
No, it's going to be Werner again.
There's splinters on the picnic table. I bleed and bleed. All right, we are running late. Here are the headlines.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Lainey Wilson is on a roll. She's delivering great music and teaming up with some of country's hottest acts. Text Lainey to 45911 to see which 4 Lainey Wilson collabs have us talking at BackstageCountry.com. Text Lainey to 45911 to get a link to the list sent right to your phone from BackstageCountry.com.
Dutcher and Hardy, the reviews are in.
I got to say, I don't want to talk about you. Give me about 5 minutes of my time.
What he said. Now more of on the Sports Hub.
I'm going to read this on air because I just said it to you guys. We only have 5 minutes.
Good.
I threw it away.
Oh.
But I can find it. Maybe I didn't throw it away. I got an email. Just explain what we were talking about. Jason Tatum was after the All-Star game said what?
Yeah, Jason Tatum, this is on the Saturday before the All-Star game during his media availability. He was asked, well, who's going to be the face of this league when LeBron James retires? And Tatum, I'm paraphrasing, said, well, if we win a championship, I think I might have something to say about that.
Yeah, and I believe my thought on it was I don't know. I don't think he could be the face of the league. He's not charismatic enough, and he's not. I don't know if he's going to be the best player in the league either. So I don't think. My point is I don't believe I was very passionate about the subject. It's kind of just a feeling. I mean, it's not. It's not. I'm not in charge of it at all. But I don't think I was passionate about it.
No.
I probably was. In fact, I probably wasn't passionate enough. Well, this Andrew fellow sent me this long-ass email, mad.
Okay.
Wanted to listen to see if you bozos decided to say anything about the All-Star game. So this guy was chomping at the bit to talk about the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
Tatum can't be the face of the league because of his play and lack of charisma. You took that right out of the horse's ass. A superstar who's never been in trouble for his behavior off the court. Because that's all you got to be the face of the league.
Right.
Is just not been arrested for anything.
Right.
Hachi-machi. Stayed with one team his whole career. That's very impressive. He has been with this team for... how old is Tatum?
26.
Well, give him a round of applause for his longevity. 25. You know what? I don't think Andrew's as smart as I am. Become a better facilitator and driving force behind a title in Boston. If you were going to get me on anything about Tatum, it would be me saying that he was overdrafted. I was completely wrong about that. It's insanity the way you guys will talk about him. Newsflash, he's your moneymaker in this town for the next 5 years at least. Yeah. Who the hell else are you going to talk about as a superstar? I don't think I know him at all.
So how does that take him to the face of the league?
Yeah. And also, I don't think my career depends on Jason Tatum.
Paul Pierce was the face of the Celtics for how many years here? It wasn't the face of the league.
Correct.
If Jason Tatum gets hurt tomorrow, it's not going to really affect my job. With 20 minutes a day, you don't dedicate to the fallen Patriots dynasty. Well, all right. That is
I
true.
think we
do
spent
talk
time
about,
on both of those.
No. We talk about the Patriots far more than the Celtics, absolutely.
Yeah, true.
Also, you want them to change the rules regarding Doc Rivers being the coach?
Yes. I do.
Yes. I don't think I care. Yes. Everyone knows it's a farce, but it's the rules. Okay.
Somehow, if anything, I was happy they made Doc go because he didn't want to be there.
That's very true.
He didn't even want the Milwaukee job until after the. Did you see that? Yeah. He literally tried to put off getting hired until after the All-Star break.
I know.
Isn't it? Because he didn't want the attention.
Griffin coached the All-Star game and then get fired. It would have been really funny, too.
This is just such an odd thing to be this mad about. Everyone knows it's a farce, but it's the rules. Somehow everyone seems to have been okay with it, but no. It's the NBA, so you guys have to find a way to complain. Also, Wemby not being able to be the face of the league because people can't relate to him, how lazy it take? You really think that matters? How much can you see of ourselves in these 7-foot-tall superstar athletes? I will ask you this, Andrew. How many 7-footers have been the face of the league?
Olajuwon?
No.
He wasn't the face of it. When was he
no.
the face
I'll give you one, and then I could even argue it, but maybe Shaq.
Yeah.
But you could argue Kobe was the face of the league.
Yep. Yeah.
So I got news for you, Andrew. 7-footers aren't the face of the league.
Yeah, the only time
it's Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Magic.
Athletic guys.
Yeah.
Not huge guys, athletic guys.
Steph Curry.
Bird was for a while, yeah.
I mean, no. The 7-footers aren't. Andrew, you are not making very good points, but not that. I'm not trying to prove you wrong. More, I'm just fascinated by your anger. And then go, bro, maybe if John Morant could get his antics together. Like, Jesus, please tell me where your thought process began with Tatum doesn't have the charisma to be the face of the league. Well, because John Morant, they were making the face of the league. John Morant was the biggest star young player in the league until he got in trouble. There's no doubt about that. And by the way, I'm basing some of this in anecdotal stuff about my kids and their friends, which I don't think. My daughter wears John Morant shoes, and my son desperately wanted to go see John Morant play. I mean, and they're kids, and so they're what the league cares about.
Yep.
So I don't know.
That's who ultimately decides.
Yeah,
right. I mean, you can market whoever you want as the face of the league, but the people who buy the merch,
the uniforms,
the people who buy the shoes, people who buy the jerseys, like that's what ultimately determines it.
So I actually emailed the guy back, and I go, "Okay, fine, Tatum can be the face of the league. You win. I don't. That's what an odd thing to be that upset about. I'm not overly passionate about it.
Dare you disrespect him?
I don't know if that's even disrespectful in that he's not charismatic, and that I don't think he's ever going to be the best player in the league, and that they could win titles, and I just don't think that he'll be the face of the league. I don't think he's a big enough star. I don't think he's charismatic enough. I don't.
Right now, we talked about this earlier. I mean, if you take an honest look around the NBA, even if he wins a title this year, which I'd very much like to see, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry. I mean, you're
taking out the idea is you're taking out Steph, KD, and LeBron. That the idea is that those three guys.
But
are
then you have
table.
Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, and Doncic.
Yeah, and then you have Anthony Edwards, who I think is going to be a massive star, and you have
going to get a deep playoff run this year.
And he is, a kid that jumps out of the gym. He's a big,
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
The only problem is he's in OKC, but there you go. But Kevin Durant was in OKC, so there you have it. All right. Well, I just thought that was a very odd thing to get that upset about.
Yes.
We can go Bruins or we can go Diaper Spa. We're going Diaper Spa. All right. We'll be right back.